Okay, so for this evening's video notes, our topic is scientific attitudes, and our essential question is, how do the scientific community and society influence the process of science? So we need to think back to, where do scientific attitudes come from? Where is this exploration and investigation in our minds come from? Well, it all comes from different variety of attitudes that we have. So we need to remember always first that science comes from observations. We are observing the natural world around us, and so that leads us to then question the reasons why these things are happening around us. And so curiosity is the first attitude that we want you to write down. And curiosity, what is it? It's what helps you think about why things are happening and what's going on around you. And so that curiosity, that wondering, that interest that entices you to be asking those questions in the first place is one type of attitude. The second type of attitude is skepticism. And so remember, what's highlighted in our notes is what you write down. So skepticism means that scientists question existing ideas. And so those hypotheses, they don't just accept them without evidence. They will, in fact, refuse them, and scientists will want to see evidence that supports those claims that are out there in science. And so if those scientists disagree with those claims, those statements, then they will go ahead and design their own experiments. And so they have skepticism towards some of those types of concepts that are being explained in the world. The next attitude, the third attitude, is open-mindedness. And open-mindedness is just the attitude of how scientists are willing to look at new things in a new way, to accept different views and different ideas that have been occurred between the community, even if they don't completely agree with them.
Okay, and the other scientific attitude is creativity. And you have to have creativity in science in order to design your experiments that are going to yield accurate data. And then, so how do we communicate? How do scientists communicate within the community? So scientists share their findings with the scientific community all around the world, and they publish their articles. And so their articles, their findings, need to go under what's called peer review. And so that's when those papers, the scientific papers, are reviewed by anonymous and independent experts. So it's basically like a bunch of scientists getting together and reviewing your findings, reviewing your research, and then critiquing it. They are going to look at for oversights or any unfair influences, biases, fraud, mistakes, and techniques or reasoning. So science isn't always done once you're done with the scientific method. It's got to go into the peer review to see if it's valid. And then here are some examples of things we don't want to see in science. Biases can influence science in negative ways, and it's when scientists take a particular preference or point of view instead of looking at the science. And they can also misinterpret or misapply the scientific data if they want a certain outcome or proof. So this is what we don't want to do in science. You don't want to have a certain bias. So how do we blend science and society together? Well, science influences society, and vice versa. Society can also influence the type of science we do. So when we're looking at solving problems in the world, such as oil spills, which affect society, we can use science to help that oil spill and get rid of it, and that in turn will benefit society.